What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Layne and I'm a nurse practitioner student. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about local travel nursing and being an independent nurse contractor. Now, I know that travel nursing has become really the top trend over the past few years with the pandemic because the contracts and the money that you can potentially make has been amazing. But I know that not everyone is able to actually move even for a short period of time to make that money. So I want to share with you guys my experience as being a local travel nurse and a nurse contractor for the past year. And I'll share with you guys some of my lessons learned and some of the things that I really had no idea was out there before I started local travel nursing. All right, let's get into today's video. Alright guys, so if you're still watching this, you're still interested in local travel nursing or becoming an independent nurse contractor. So let me talk about first what is the difference between a regular travel nurse and a local travel nurse. Well, so most people know this, travel nurses usually have to go at least 50 or 60 miles away from their address of residence to be able to consider a travel nurse. And with that, you get stipends for moving expenses, incidentals, and things like that on top of your hourly wage. Now, being a local travel nurse means that the location of your contract is actually a lot closer than that 50 or 60 mile radius. So that means that you do not get that additional stipend, but you still do get a competitive hourly wage. Usually with these contracts, if you go through one of the top travel nurse agencies like AYA or AMN, one of those, you're still going to get a W-2 and you're still going to get paid every 2 weeks. And it's really not that different from a regular travel contract, except for, like I said, about that stipend. You do get health insurance, you do get other benefits, 401k, depending on how long you've worked with the agency. So there really isn't that much difference outside of that stipend. And it might be worth it to you, like I said, if you're not able to travel very far, if you have kids, a family, you have other obligations going on here, but you still want to increase your pay a little bit and maybe get away from the setting that you've been doing. I think that local travel nursing is still a great option. Now, depending on which organization you are staffing through, you may also be considered an independent nurse contractor. Now, this means that you have a 1099 instead of a W-2. Now, for those of you who don't know what a 1099 is, like I honestly really didn't before I started this contract, with a 1099, no taxes are being taken out of your paycheck. Now, remember, this does mean that eventually you will have to pay those taxes. So you kind of have to put some money aside knowing that when tax season runs around, you will have to actually pay that money back. But for those of you who maybe like having your cash in advance, that might be a great option for you. But also, when you are filing your taxes with that 1099, you are considered having your own business, which I think is a really cool thing. And for those of you out there who are nurse entrepreneurs, it might be a good opportunity for you to create your own LLC to be able to potentially get some tax breaks through that. Or if you're planning on expanding your business, that could be an option for you. But that's not something that you have to do. It's just something really to keep in the back of your mind that you're going to have to pay those taxes with your 1099 on the back end instead of the front end. Now, in terms of length of your contracts, what I love about being an independent nurse contractor is that your contracts do not necessarily have to be those 3 months, 12 weeks, 12 to 13 week contracts that you see at some of the larger travel nurse agencies. Currently, where I'm working through, you can just do like random shifts, PRN. So that morning when you wake up, if there's a shift open and you want to take it, you can take it, or the night before. And you can just sporadically kind of pick which shifts you want to do. And it can also be at different facilities. Now, that might not be appealing for everyone. Some people like the consistency of being at the same agency or same organization for the 3 months period. But if you're willing to work through the same staffing company, but just be working at different facilities, and you're fine with just hopping in there, being flexible, hitting the ground running, and kind of just figuring things out as you go, that could definitely be a great option for you. A lot of these organizations, healthcare facilities who are asking for these one-off PRN shifts, what I've seen is they tend to be outpatient, and they tend to use a lot of paper charting. So it doesn't tend to be as acute. So I've always felt comfortable just kind of jumping in. And obviously I've been a nurse long enough that I feel like I'm able to advocate for myself if I feel like I'm in an unsafe situation. But usually it's not really high stress. And I do PACU nursing, so I haven't really had any issues with this. But I've liked the change of pace from this, from an inpatient setting to more outpatient. And it's been a great way to still get great money, especially since I'm in school. With being a local travel nurse and working through the staffing agency that I work through as an independent contractor, I also don't have to deal with recruiters as much. And I know that can be annoying to some travel nurses where you get recruiters emailing you, texting you all the time. With this, I really don't have that. I do have a kind of a clinical supervisor who kind of supervises my assignments, but I really only contact them when I have issues. And a lot of my negotiations in terms of salary, times for that I need off, vacation, all of that is negotiated directly by me with the manager or the clinical director at the facility. And personally, I do like this after being a travel nurse for a little bit, because I feel like I have enough confidence to say, like, you know, maybe can I be paid a little bit more? And just advocating for myself, I feel like I can stand on my 2 feet. But if this isn't really your comfort zone or you're not ready for that yet, I could see that could be a barrier. But I honestly think that most of the contracts out there are very competitive. You can actually see what you're going to be paid for that entire shift before you even select the shift that you're going to pick up. So you know what you're getting into. And if you don't like the amount of money you're being paid, you don't have to pick up another shift at that location, and you can pick up one that has a higher price point if that's what you're interested in. I also like that my particular agency that I'm working through allows you to also do assignments as well, but short term. So like I said, usually with the bigger travel nurse agency organizations, you're doing that 13-week contract, and it's really hard to negotiate anything less than that. But when you're an independent nurse contractor, you can negotiate shorter contracts. So some contracts that I've had have been like 4 weeks or 8 weeks. And even within that contract, I don't necessarily have to work full time. I can work part time, or I can work a couple shifts a month, even within that 4 weeks that I'm saying that I will be committed to picking up shifts there. It just depends on the facility and what you're able to negotiate. Something that I also love about this is that you really get to see a lot of different facilities and just get exposed to a lot of different ways of doing things. Like I said, my specialty is PACU, so I've been able to see a lot of different PACUs and how they do things differently. And as a DNP student, it's been really interesting for me to see how evidence is translated into practice in different settings. And it's given me ideas for things with my own DNP project of things I could potentially implement that could help different facilities. It's also been a great way for me to network. I already have a site for my DNP project, but if I did not, I would highly recommend someone who did not to try to utilize this as a way to make connections with different sites. Now, just some things, I've kind of mentioned some of these before, but just some things to keep in mind. This might not be for you if you really like having a long orientation at places and you're not really someone who likes to just jump in. If you don't like paper charting, this probably is not for you, because most of the assignments that I've seen, because a lot of them have been outpatient, have been paper charting, and that does take a little bit longer to get used to and just to kind of go about your day, especially if you're like millennial like me and you're used to just clicking and doing things real quick. It does take a little bit longer, but ultimately it's fine. Like, you'll be fine. But I understand if someone did not think that that was for them. And another thing with this is you have even less of a relationship with the staff than you usually would with a full contract, like for 3 months. I felt like when I did a full contract, I definitely created such a great bond with my coworkers. I got to know everyone really well, versus as an independent contractor nurse, with just picking up shifts at random places. I still do create great relationships with whatever coworkers I'm with, but it's a little bit different because you know that you may or may not see these people again. And even if you're back at the same facility, that the same staff might be off that day, you might not see them. So I could see how this could be something that could be a barrier if that's not something that you're looking for. I think overall that being a local travel nurse or being an independent nurse contractor though is a great opportunity for those who really want to stay close to home, who need flexible hours. Maybe if you have kids that you're providing childcare for, if you're a student like me who's doing clinicals and things and doesn't always know what their schedule is going to look like and can't really provide that in advance for someone. I think honestly, if you just want more experience, or if you're like me looking for a DNP project, I think that honestly, it's just great. I can't say enough about it. And even if you're still working as staff at a hospital and you just need something that will help you pick up some more money on the side, some extra shifts on your days off, I've found that because more of the assignments have been outpatient, the shifts have been less stressful than inpatient. So it's a good way to still make PRN money, but maybe in a different setting if you're feeling kind of burnt out. But definitely give this a chance, especially if you're also a travel nurse maybe you've been travel nursing, going to different locations for a year, and you just need something to switch it up. You kind of want to be back home with your family, but maybe there's not an attractive enough assignment back home. Maybe check out some local travel nurse agencies, check out some independent contractor positions, and see if this might be something that's for you. All right, guys, I hope that this video was helpful. This is just a little bit of my experience as a local travel nurse and starting to become an independent nurse contractor. Please comment below any questions that you guys have, especially if you've done this before. What have been some of your pros and cons, and things maybe you wish you had done differently? I would love to talk with you guys about that. But definitely let me know if you want to see more content about this. I can share some more about my experiences and more tips. But make sure to give this video a like, give it a thumbs up, and make sure you subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you guys in the next video. All right, peace. Thank you.